Hi guys, it's Colette. Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to look at how to know if you're an earth empath. Now, earth empaths are very much connected to the earth. They're sensitive people who completely connect with earth and earth energies and feel and take on those energies. So let's break it down a wee bit more and give you 22 hints that you might be an earth empath. Now, the more you have, the more you may be an earth empath. The less you have, you may be a general empath and want to look at the other types of empaths. And if you want a video done on the different types of empaths, then I can do that too if you give me a thumbs up and like this. The reason I'm doing earth empath first is that that's the way I am, and I understand it more maybe than other types. But basically, an earth empath is a highly sensitive person who feels intense connection to the earth and earth events. They're strongly affected by nature, natural and environmental disasters, and all energies connected to the earth and the universe. They truly feel at one with the earth. So let's have a look at some of the points to know if you're an earth empath. And there's 22, so you can be doing little ticks as you go down, see how many you get. Now, the first one is, are you generally empathetic? I mean, if you're a general empath, then you could be a little bit earth empath. You could be a little bit like air empath, animal empath. But being a general empath first before you're an earth empath, if you see what I mean, you have to be an empath in some way, generally, but more inclined to be in a major form. It's like someone that's maybe say got a degree, like my degree is in pharmacy, so I had to be a pharmacist first, but I specialised in pharmacology. So yes, I was a pharmacist and I am still registered, but my speciality was pharmacology and clinical stuff. So that's the same sort of way as an empath. You've got to have that general empathy first, and then you find that you're more drawn to one specification, if you want to put it that way. So empaths feel rather than just sense. Okay, that's really important. Highly sensitive people can be empaths, but not all highly sensitive people are, because a sensitive person will sense what's going on with a person or the earth, but an empath feels it, they encapsulate it, it has some effect on their body, and that's the difference between a sensitive person and an empath. A sensitive or highly sensitive person senses things in a way that's slightly external, but an empath, it's all one. It's like completely, there's no beginning and end between them and the area that they're very empathic in. So that's number one. Are you generally empathic? Number two, if you're an earth empath, you feel unwell, anxious or overstimulated before an earth event such as an earthquake or a volcano exploding. There's been quite a lot of earth events that have been natural disasters, but I want to add on here that there's also a sense of unnatural disasters. You know, some people will feel the crying out of the earth, say when a plane crashes into it, or when there's maybe you know, a bomb or something that causes an issue with not just the people that are living there, but actually the land itself. So although I've put down a general earth event, that tends to mean just natural events, and although you may feel them more, a lot of earth empaths really can sense that there's something going to be wrong, and then it does turn out to be something that would have an impact of the energy of even people and the way that they're reacting to maybe a big tragedy. So remember that you may get the feelings and the anxiousness and not know what it's about. That's very common. And the thing is, once the earth event has taken place, normally the feeling of it settles down. As the earth settles down, the earth empath settles down. And I've been in situations where I've known something's been happening, not sure what, but I've been able to say, I don't know what that is, but it's stopped. And it's maybe been, an earthquake or a big mudslide or something, a tsunami. And I know when it's done. And that happens a lot with earth empaths. Number 3, connect with trees, forests, ocean and nature. And it's just really everything to do with the earth. You'll have maybe you go with your astrological sign, you're more water or air, etc. But connecting with trees, forests, the sea, oceans, all of nature, if you have a strong need to be in nature and connect with that energy, then you're more likely an earth empath. Number 4, very simple one, prefer to be barefoot. You'll see there's some overlaps with the one I did, how to know if you're a shaman, because believe it or not, there's a very big overlap between all of these, but the earth empath energy very much merges over into shamanism, so that's an interesting one. But if you prefer to be barefoot, particularly outside, that's a reason to know that you want to connect through your feet, you want the earth energy. Number 5, if they could, they would choose to live in rural countryside or by the sea in the roundabout nature rather than a big city. Earth empaths don't tend to do great in big cities, and sometimes they have to be there, and they need to maybe look after themselves and put up some barriers. Now, I have a video on tips how to protect yourself for being a general empath, and I'll link that in the description box below if you want to go and see that one. But basically, even visits to a big city can make people feel, empaths feel very ill and very anxious and need to get back and sit beside a tree. So you'll know what I mean. If you understand what I'm talking about, then definitely consider yourself very empathic to the earth. Following on from that, hate crowded indoor places. You might occasionally go to a big cinema to see something, but you can only tolerate so much time. Big shopping centres are the horror of your life. And also things like being in, kept with lots of people, say even in an aeroplane, can bring out a lot of anxiety for the earth empath. Because these are situations where there are so many energies, whether someone's angry, someone's anxious, someone's, maybe drunk, whatever. The earth empath will certainly feel what's going on when there's a lot of people in one space on her part of the earth. Now, another one which I feel can be very interesting is feel connected to animal and plants. Although these are quite specific to other empathetic groups too, the earth empath definitely has a love of plants and flowers, and maybe would prefer flowers not to be cut but to be in the garden, and would nurture and look after plants very well. So if you love your plants, then that's another tick. Not even so much just loving them, but understanding them, and really connecting with them. So that's a good one. Number 8, have felt a weirder spiritual connection to a place, area or country and not known why. You maybe go somewhere you've never been before and immediately you're connected with what you're feeling. It's not even just a sense of sensing it. You can sometimes be getting all sorts of energies running through your body. And this can be a very difficult one if you're in the middle of it but not understanding it. It can be to do with a lot of past life issues, there's no doubt about that, but also two places that have massively different energies that I've literally actually fallen down in, like fainted. One, the energies were so incredible to me at the pass at Glencoe, where the massacre was. Just down a bit from where they say the massacre was because I know what I felt. But basically, the Glencoe energies were so sad and so horrible that I avoided going through the mountains and the glen to get through to the upper part of the Highlands for many years. I just didn't do Glencoe. The other type of energy was on the island of Iona in Scotland, where there's an abbey that has Christian roots but also Celtic roots, and some very special people, gentle people, are buried in the cemetery there. And I just fell over and ended up crying and crying and crying and not quite understanding why. Now partly it was because of the energies of the place. They were so amazing. It wasn't like crying tears of fear or anything. It was just the whole energy of the place. So you can feel many things. It's not just feeling anxiety or fear or taking on the feelings in your body. You'll know when it happens. And if you've had that experience in a particular place, could you put it in the comments? Because I love to hear about this, because I have this a lot in places I go and it can be quite embarrassing. Really can. But frightened energies, the sense of taking on maybe the energies of the land at Glencoe was not a good idea. Yet feeling the spirituality and the sacredness of the land of Iona was so overwhelming that I was in tears because of the beauty of it. So that's an interesting one. Please let me know. I love hearing about that. Again, there's a lot of things like past life. If it's a whole country or if it's a culture, it can be more past life. But you've also got to remember that you're feeling what's happened there. And to be honest, that's probably why I would never maybe make a pilgrimage to Auschwitz or something like that. I don't think us empaths can stand stuff like that without feeling horrible, absolutely horrible. Anyway, 9, feel drawn to earth-based spiritualities such as shamanism or druidry, which that was mentioned earlier on. There's a big overlap there. Number 10, feel connected to indigenous people's rights for their land and lifestyle. Most earth empaths will definitely support indigenous people, and they fight for whatever it is they're fighting for, their land rights back, to stop a pipeline going over the country, for a sense of Aboriginal rights. Most people will feel what the land is to the indigenous people and will connect with that in a very strong way. Number 11, as a child, collected stones, twigs and pebbles and everything to do with the earth. Pockets full of pebbles, talking to a twig, having, a pet twig or whatever. Yes, all children do these things, but in earth empath children, it's quite extreme. They literally know this stone means that. And I've had children that have picked up the energies of happy crystals and sad crystals without ever knowing what the crystals were or what they were meant for. That was interesting. Number 12, I've mentioned before, would rather grow flowers than cut flowers. 13, can be keen gardeners or even just have houseplants if they're in cities, but they'll always try to bring greenery around them. See? Number 14, support environmental charities. That speaks for itself. Number 15, if you're really planted in the earth and you're not just sensing it, you're feeling everything that's happened when you're so open, you can normally forecast what your local weather will be. You can normally say, I think it's going to rain today, even if the weather forecast says it's not. You can normally tell when a thunderstorm's coming. Thunder, the need for thunder affects my third eye like it's been crushed. And also, and there's an excitement there because I actually love storms. my first spirit name that I was gifted by an elder was Quiet's the Storm. And then my grandmother name is Grandmother Winds of the Earth, which is all to do with storms and energy. So I love storms and I can sense them quite well. Let's see where we are. Can be an earth sign, but not necessarily so. But if you are an earth sign and you have the attributes of the earth signs, then you can be nearer to being an earth empath, if you see what I mean. But you can be any sign, but earth signs can be a wee bit closer just because of their nature. Number 17, live life with the seasons. It's hard in a world that ignores seasons, but because a world can ignore seasons, we get things like seasonal affective disorder. If we just gently went with the seasons, we would sort of very much start to gain our energy and plant our seeds in spring, even if that's about a baby or a business, and then we would, bloom and be full of energy in the summer, and then we'd, have our harvests and go down, and then we would accept that winter is the time of going within and is the time of rest. And the sort of first world countries don't tend to align themselves with the seasons. Everything has to be full on all the time, and the only seasonal things they seem to go by is what they can, the seasons they can use for money. Yeah, if you're an earth empath, you normally just naturally connect with the seasons in your part of the world. And if you're in a, maybe near the equator that doesn't have many seasons, you'll still have a sense of the world about you and the weather about you as well. Number 18, earth empaths react badly to pollution, whether that is in the air, whether it's in the ocean, or whether it's in tips or in landfill. They find pollution devastating to the earth, and they can be quite environmentally active with that. So that's one. But again, they're reacting badly by pollution. They're not just, like if there's bad air quality, they'll feel that like a normal person. But as an empath, they'll literally feel as though they're, that they are the earth and this is encroaching on them and doing all the stuff it shouldn't do. So it's not just maybe reacting in a normal way to pollution. It becomes more of a sense of rejection of pollution, because that's what the earth is trying to do. Number 19, I've got enjoy thunderstorms. Some may become storm chasers. So if you've ever watched films about storm chasers, the ones that are scientists, fair enough, but the ones that are just bonkers and like to get close to a storm, I bet a lot of them, as well as being adrenaline junkies, are also earth empaths. They want to connect with that energy and let it fill their being. So we've said about thunderstorms and stuff before, but I'm going to look at some of these videos and look at the people and see if I can sense more of an earth energy in them. I find the whole thing fascinating, the risks involved, but also the thrill of it. I can understand the thrill of it. I don't think I would be immune to it, I must admit, because I've stood on rocks not that far from a whirlpool, big whirlpool. I'm a strong swimmer, but obviously you wouldn't jump into a whirlpool. But this was in France, and it was the Atlantic Ocean and this big whirlpool. I remember standing on the rocks where nobody else was and thinking, oh my God, that would be amazing just to feel the energy of that. And even to think that at the time, I was like, oh, no, don't. So yeah, yeah. So don't become a storm chaser unless you're aware of the risks, and don't jump into whirlpools. Right, so number 20, react to astrological events and solar flares. So anything that affects the Earth, whether it be the moon, the planets, solar flares, different astrological energies, grand crosses, anything like that, you actually will feel. And even Earth energy people are still very much affected by the moon and the moon cycles, because obviously that's what affects the Earth. Number 21, tend to like herbal remedies and natural medicine. They encapsulate the energy of the earth and everything in it. So therefore they have an intrinsic connection to herbs and to natural medicine and to what can be made from the earth. And that's where the naturopaths come from. Number 22, one that I am joyful about myself, may have seen elemental spirits, especially the earth elementals. The little people. Now, if you don't know what an elemental spirit is, again, I've got a video on elemental spirits, so I'll link that with the other one about protecting empaths in the description box. I'm not so good at doing little things, I always forget, but I'll definitely link it down below, and you can maybe have a wee look at those videos too. Earth elementals are wonderful. They're the funniest, amazing, cheeky, mischievous creatures. I adore them. I'd actually love to write a book at one point that would be fiction but based on earth elementals. I know what I've seen and I know what I enjoy. But anyway, if you don't know what elemental spirits are, have a look at that video. And if you do know about elementals, you could maybe let us know if you've ever seen one, or in particular, was it an earth elemental, was it water elemental, etc, etc. But yeah, may have seen elemental spirits, especially earth elementals. So how many did you tick off? It's not about measuring yourself up, saying like, oh, 5 to 10 is this and whatever. Generally, if you've ticked quite a lot, then you're more than likely an earth empath. If you've not ticked many, then you're maybe just a general empath. And if you've ticked none, you're probably maybe a sensitive rather than an empath. But I did enjoy writing this for you, and I'm going to put the words of it up in my coffee shop for free. So if you go into the shop and look for the name of this video, you'll be able to get the print, you'll be able to download this that I'm reading from at the moment, and keep it by you if you don't want to go back and forth to the video. So I'll do that as well. So there's going to be 3 links below, and I will remember to do it, and if I don't, someone have a wee yell at me in the comments. But if you like this type of video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to know more about the other empathic energies, let me know and I can do something on them. As I say, I started with Earth Elemental because that's what I am, and it's easier to talk from your own experience, isn't it? So give me a thumbs up if you want to help the channel. You could buy maybe coffee at the coffee link, and many blessings now. Bye.